appreciate it. I think for a lot of people, they don't always know what to do. What do you advise people to do? I mean, for the people in this room, all of them have access to jillions of followers and always have an opportunity to send messages out. What would you like the people here to be able to do?
You know, we always try to encourage using your voice. Like once you know something, to be able to share that information. So using your voice is a really powerful tool. It doesn't cost anything. It's our greatest human resource. And when you use your voice in a place like our country where we are able to do so, you know, on behalf of others who really just don't have that option. So it's a really important thing to utilize. And the other thing is, like, for us as an organization, you know, we're trying to raise awareness, but also support for programs that will...
Financial support.
Yeah, financial support. I mean, awareness is the most important, but without being able to give those services, it's a tricky balance. So we offer a number of different ways on our website, everymothercounts.org, to get involved, to engage if this is an issue that does speak to you. I mean, for me, over the years, it's always been something that's been a personal connection, but it doesn't always have to be. I mean, it could be the fact that you've had a baby and you actually did have everything you did need. You didn't have to almost die in order to wake up to something like this. But it really has to speak to you, and you also have to try. You know, if something doesn't really reach out to you, there are so many things to do. If each one of us went out there and made one effort, you know, we could solve a lot of the world's problems. There are enough of the problems, and there are enough of us. There's 7 billion of us, you know? So I encourage you just to make the effort and try. And then, you know, I really want to put an end to this mommy war stuff. Moms need moms.
Yes, please.
Right?
Oh, God.
We need each other more than anything. And so to stop sort of separating us and making us divisive and politicizing our bodies, I mean, we need one another. And so it's something that I always encourage is, you know, mommies need mommies.
What would you say, Malaak?
I just think giving should be very personal. You know, you just saw, thank you for showing the video of mine. You know, my giving is very personal. Journey for Change is very personal to me. My husband's from Brooklyn. I got involved with the Salvation Army because he's from Brooklyn. I fell in love with South Africa because I took a trip there. So Journey for Change is because of my love for Brooklyn and my love for South Africa. So give what's personal to you. Please remember that any amount of money that you donate to a nonprofit needs it. The average amount of money that's donated to a nonprofit is $4.20. The notion that people give $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 to a nonprofit is not true, okay? $4 is the average amount of money that people give, okay? The amount of a cup of coffee at Starbucks is what people give. That's what makes nonprofits go around, okay? So please give to nonprofits. They really need it. And volunteer, okay? Volunteer once a month, 3 times a month, whatever you have to give, volunteer. Our nonprofits need you to volunteer to them. And just figure out where you want to volunteer. If you want to volunteer to the elderly, HIV/AIDS, whatever cause speaks to you, figure out what your platform is. Whatever you want to make a difference, figure out what that is, where you want to make a difference. For me, it's education, it's women, and it's children. Where do you want to make a difference?
Before we open it up to questions with a little bit of time that we have left, I'm going to leave you with a quick story that was told to me when I was working in Haiti doing a documentary on missionaries who were helping Haitian orphans. And we had gone in right after the earthquake, and it was one of the saddest, most difficult things I've ever had to shoot, because they'd bring the orphans outside. Everybody was concerned that the buildings would fall in. So the babies were in porta-cribs outside in the heat. And of course the flies were around, and there were still aftershocks, and it was terrifying. And finally, after seeing all these babies just crying and then literally dying sometimes the next day, I would say to the missionaries, like, how do you do this? How do you come in every day when you know there is no light at the end of the tunnel every day? I mean, Haiti was bad before the earthquake, and now it's terrible. How do you get up every day and try to save 50 orphans, 60 orphans, when there are 400,000 orphans in this country? How do you do it? And the missionary, who was the focus of our documentary, said, well, you know, it's the story of the starfish. I was like, what's a starfish? You know, the starfish story. A little boy is walking along the beach, and all the water's gone out, so the starfish are all beached on the sand. And the kid starts picking up starfish and chucking them back into the water. And a man comes up to him and says, "What are you doing? The beach is full of starfish. It goes for miles. There's no way you're going to be able to pick up all these starfish. This is a complete waste of time." And the kid picks up a starfish and says, "Well, I guess it matters to this one," and chucks it in. And I love that story, partly for the story that we were telling about Haitian orphans, but for me it really resonated about a life mission, which was it really is about picking up the one and making a difference for the one. And if you do it well and you do it consistently and you're able to share your story, you start encouraging other people to come out to the beach. And they start picking up a couple of starfish. And then if you can get some momentum because you're able to get a message out to a wider audience and maybe even leverage it through social media, you can have a lot of people on the beach chucking starfish in. And you can make a real difference. And you can really move the needle, whatever that corner of the beach is that is the thing that matters to you and is of interest to you. And I've never forgotten that story. I love that story because I think for each person, it's just grab the starfish, chuck them back in.